A sword that shouldn't exist. A weapon nobody can rebuild. And concrete that heals itself while ours falls apart in 50 years. 3 real objects. 3 technologies modern labs are still reverse engineering. And one is such a good story that people mistake it for the real mystery, when the real mysteries are stranger. We like to imagine progress as a straight line, every generation smarter than the last. But sometimes a civilization solves a problem so well that when they disappear, the solution disappears with them. Nobody writes it down, nobody passes it on. And centuries later, scientists find the leftovers and go, wait, how did they do that with what they had? Start with something under your feet, if you've ever walked through Rome. The Pantheon's dome is still the largest unreinforced concrete dome on Earth, 2,000 years old. Modern concrete, in comparison, starts cracking within decades. For years, engineers assumed Roman concrete had these strange white chunks in it because the Romans mixed it badly. In 2023, MIT and Harvard researchers proved the opposite. Those chunks are called limeclasts, and they're not a mistake. They're a feature. When cracks form, water reaches these clasts, and they release calcium that hardens and seals the crack shut. The concrete repairs itself. So if Roman concrete can outlast ours by 2,000 years, why did we ever stop making it this way? Hold that thought. Now go to the battlefields of the medieval Middle East, where a sword had a reputation that terrified crusaders. Damascus steel, technically wood steel from India, was hard enough to hold an edge, but flexible enough not to shatter. That combination shouldn't be possible in normal steel. More carbon usually means more hardness and more brittleness. In 2006, researchers in Dresden dissolved a 17th century Damascus blade in acid and found something almost absurd. Structures resembling carbon nanotubes, centuries before nanotechnology was a word. That specific finding hasn't been confirmed by later studies, so scientists are still debating exactly what's inside that steel. What is settled? The original ore source ran out by the 1700s. The technique was a closely guarded secret, and it was never fully passed on. It just stopped. Here's where most videos on this topic get it wrong. You've probably heard of the Baghdad Battery, a clay jar people claim generated electricity 2,000 years before Volta. It's one of the most repeated ancient tech claims online. But archaeologist Elizabeth Stone put it bluntly. She doesn't know a single archaeologist in the field who thinks it's a real battery. The leading explanation is much less exciting. It likely stored a scroll, and the metal parts just held it in place. Not every ancient mystery is actually a mystery, but some are. In the year 672, the Byzantine Empire unveiled a weapon that changed naval warfare. A liquid fire that kept burning even on top of the ocean. Water didn't put it out, it seemed to spread it. It saved Constantinople from siege after siege for roughly 700 years, and the formula was guarded so intensely that no single person ever knew the whole recipe. Different technicians only knew their own piece of it. When the Byzantine Empire finally fell in 1453, the full formula died with it. Historians agree it likely involved petroleum and resin. Nobody has ever fully rebuilt it. So back to that question. Why didn't we keep making self-healing concrete, unbreakable steel, or unstoppable fire? Same answer every time. These weren't accidents of a primitive past. They were precision techniques, protected by secrecy or dependent on a single resource. And once the people or the supply chain disappeared, so did the knowledge. We didn't lose these technologies because they were crude. We lost them because we weren't careful enough to keep them. If you had to guess, which one of these do you think modern engineers will actually rebuild first? The concrete, the steel, or the fire? Put your answer in the comments. I'll pin the best argument. And if ancient mysteries like this are your thing, there's a lot more where this came from. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.